Hello, I'm Gus Downing, publisher and editor of the D&D Daily, and this is the Loss Prevention News Network.
Welcome back, and today I'm joined by three superstar public-private sector partners from the law enforcement community. Captain Bill Williams, the commanding officer of the Commercial Crimes Division of the Los Angeles Police Department, Detective Joe Hopkins, Detective 3 Joe Hopkins with the LAPD's Commercial Crimes Division, and the Law Enforcement Liaison for LAAORCA. You've heard a lot about this LAAORCA program. We're going to even share some more exciting news about the bigger CalORCA with Captain Williams. And our third special guest, who you've heard from already today, but he's back for more. He's a real glutton for punishment. Sergeant Jim Ostojic of the Polk County Sheriff's Office, a 19-year law enforcement veteran and on the front lines of these ORC issues around the country. So I have a few questions for our guests, but let me, before I start, just share this one fact. Years ago, these public-private sector partnerships began. There's a few models out there. One of them started in Albuquerque with RetaiLPartners. Next, we saw LAAORCA, the LA Area Organized Retail Crimes Association, which has now grown as the largest public-private sector ORC partnership in the country. You heard about it from the RetaiLPartners, and now you're going to hear about it firsthand from Captain Williams, who was on the front lines. I mean, truly, before this even had a name, LAAORCA, not named LaRocca, LAAORCA. We started it in LA. It's a really exciting program. And Captain Williams, let's just start right there. So here we have LAAORCA. LAPD embraces it. Chief Bratton is in charge. The program starts. Rewind the clocks. Where was LAAORCA? Where has it come from? And now where's it going?
Well, you started a little bit with talking about with RAPA and so forth. When we had a LAAORCA, before we even started LAAORCA, we heard of that program that was in RAPA, which is over in Albuquerque Police Department. So we went down there and we saw what they were doing, and we wanted to bring that back to Los Angeles. And we got together with a core group of individuals from the various retailers that were in Los Angeles, because we, unfortunately, in LA have issues as it relates to organized retail crime. And so we developed this program, and the tenets of it is we have to have an ability to communicate between the law enforcement and the retailers for real fresh information. And so that way law enforcement can act upon it with a partnership between law enforcement and retailers. And that was some 5-6 years ago. And now we have developed where we now have over 100 state, local, and federal law enforcement agencies involved with LAAORCA. We have over 110 retail memberships in terms of retail establishments that are in part of LAAORCA. And the key of it, again, is being able to communicate, able to have that information where we can act upon it, real-time information between the law enforcement and the retailers.
That's great. And it also boasts one of the largest conferences each year in the first quarter of the year.
That is so correct. We've had 5 conferences. We've just had the last one in March in the city of Pasadena. And you note I said the city of Pasadena. It was not in the city of Los Angeles because we wanted to make sure it's not necessarily just the LAPD. It's all law enforcement in the region of LA and also retailers. And it was a very good conference. We had well over 1,000 people in attendance. Even Jim was involved in making presentations there. And Joe did a great job in helping coordinating. And we were just so happy with the conference. And that's one of the other issues issues with LAAORCA. We want to deal with addressing ORC by going out and taking care of those individuals who are involved in that, but also we want to educate retailers and law enforcement about how to best address ORC.
That's great. And you know, Sergeant Ostojic, when you were out in Los Angeles, your session had extremely positive feedback. In fact, yesterday you did a session right here at the National Retail Federation conference with a standing room only crowd. They were all the way out in the doorway. I could barely even get a photo of it. You clearly have a recipe for success right here in Florida, where you've worked not just in Polk County, but with other law enforcement agencies and retailers. I know you shared a little bit about this before, but come on, let us in. What are the secrets of success in Polk County?
You know, Joe, it really runs into working with good people. You know, I've been mentored by some of the best, and you know, I've really learned what the retail community wants, and what they need, and what law enforcement we need to do in this action. It's not just the partnership between the retailers. It's not just the partnership between law enforcement. It's the prosecutors involved. It's connecting with great people like Bill Williams and Joe, and you know, just connecting with them and finding out what's working in their programs, and you know, what ways do we need to improve. You know, it's really taken out the time that we've had, and we've been able to really push off the rapid response program. Now not only have we reached out here in Florida, but now we're reaching out to other states to help them to try to get started or give them a plan on where to work. I think a big part of that is education, and I think that's where we're really working as a team to do that.
So this rapid response program, it sounds great. I mean, yeah, we're going to close these cases, but clearly retailers love this. They want results. We need results in retail. How do you share this with retail? What's the feedback? How do you bring people in, and do they see those numbers? Do you have the proven results?
Absolutely. It's not only just about the numbers, it's about the cases that we can solve from the partnership. With the retailers, you know, obviously the reduction is a big issue for them. And it's not just about closing the cases, it's following it to the top and doing it at a rapid rate. And that really helps out a lot in the cases. The other portion of that, or the second portion of that the crimes that we're able to solve from it, it's remarkable. We recently had a case where we worked with one of the retailers, and there was a robbery that went cold for about 6 months. And because we responded to a scene in a rapid response of an ORC group that had hit, we're able to determine who the suspects were and make the arrest.
That's great. And clearly the ROI results are there. Detective Hopkins, you have now been in the LAAORCA program. You work closely with the retail industry. In fact, not many people probably know this, and what's really unique about LAPD, and in particular the Commercial Crimes Division, you actually have space in police headquarters for retailers to work. They sit side by side with you. What benefits do you find from having retailers work that close with detectives in the office?
Well, what you're referring to is our retail investigation desk, and this was an idea that was implemented by Captain Williams. We utilize this desk for our loss prevention partners as well as law enforcement. It's a centralized location where we can all meet together and discuss and come up with solutions to the issues that they're facing. I believe it enhances and strengthens the partnership and that we're trying to, you know, for all of our partners in this and with our LAAORCA members. So yet another great idea by Captain Williams.
That's fantastic. Captain?
Let me just add to that. They are also able to bring information and the active cases that they're working. One unique thing that we have in Commercial Crimes Division is we have a number of different disciplines in terms of burglary, in terms of the identity theft, in terms of cyber unit, and we're able to work with the retailers there and address the concerns and some of the crime that they're investigating. And we're also able to work with other agencies, with the Los Angeles County Sheriffs, for example, in dealing with an ORC crime.
And Detective Hopkins, the LAAORCA program and conference, I mean, clearly it's a lot of work, and you know, not every law enforcement agency can have you, dedicated law enforcement liaison. But I know you've worked an awful lot with other law enforcement agencies. As the captain mentioned, LAAORCA was held in the city of Pasadena. These partnerships, your detectives, the people that you work with side by side, do you work in task forces? Does the LAPD host these programs? Do you bring in other law enforcement agencies? What type of interactions do you have?
Well, yeah, that's a very good question. Yes, in order to make this successful, we definitely have to reach out to other agencies. Now, obviously, there's sometimes, depending on the agency, there is some resistance, but if we discuss this with them, emphasize the importance and the results that we've received, a lot of agencies come on board. So it's just a matter of communicating the information, passing it along, showing the successes that we've had, and then I think, like I said, more agencies will come aboard.
It's so interesting you say that, because it goes right back to what Sergeant Ostojic said, that this is about results. And once you talk about the results and show the successes that you've had within LA and the surrounding cities, you get that buy-in. Sergeant Ostojic, I know that your sheriff just happens to be really a retail hero. He's such an outspoken advocate about organized retail crime, the issues that we're seeing around not just Florida, but around the country, and this need to do more to pass strong legislation. I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but to really look at this from a holistic point of view and to go after these crime groups. He's involved in a number of initiatives, not just in the county, but around the state and other places. Can you share a little bit about what he's involved in, how that helps you, and where you think that takes us in the industry?
Absolutely. This year he is the president of Florida Sheriff's Association. So this is one of his main initiatives, is to do the ORC and investigate that. So we passed it on to the other sheriff's offices at the conference, at which time that we provided the first 40-hour training in the nation for organized retail crime for law enforcement. It was a very interesting class. You know, a lot of good feedback there. We're going to be reaching out here now to the police chiefs. We're going to be doing the meeting, and just some really good, he's very strong towards organized retail crime, and it's really helped us out in the community, and it's really helped us with the retailers as well.
I think what I've heard and share on behalf of retailers, they're so appreciative about the work that you do. And there's this issue with resources. It comes up all the time in our business. We can't get enough people. We don't have enough money to allocate to get the latest technology and more bodies to investigate, prevent, solve these issues nationwide. Kathy Granis from the National Retail Federation shared earlier that the economy is still a big issue, which clearly, if it's a challenge for us, that's tax revenue that the cities and counties might have in order for you to fight the problem. Where do we focus for the group? Where do we focus these efforts? Is it legislative? Is it resources on the street? The partnerships are important. Is there a particular type of initiative that you see more effective than another going forward? Do we need to do a better job of educating our leaders, our retailers? I know I've thrown a big question out there. It's sort of casting a wide net. Captain, I'd be curious, you start. What do you think?
I think it's a little bit of all of the above in that regard. I think various parts of the country, certain things will probably be higher on the list than others because, for instance, in California, I think we really need to look at additional legislation, and because of ORC, and educate our legislatures and even some of our prosecutors. One thing I like to say is that at least the LA County District Attorney, our newly elected LA County District Attorney, is looking more to get involved with us. As a matter of fact, she spoke at our conference. You were there when she spoke there.
Right.
So if we can educate our legislators, let's also educate some of our city leaders in terms of ORC, in which we invite them to do that. And then we are still continuing to have to educate law enforcement, because some officers believe ORC is just, as you have said in the past, little Johnny taking a pack of gum. That's not that. ORC are people going out there really systematically taking items and using them for their purposes. So if we do a little bit of what you just mentioned, I think that will be able to address it. But we also have to look at technology, and because we don't have the resources, but we build it and work together to deal with it.
And Sergeant, how does that, do you think, translate here in Florida? You've got such a busy county. It's such an incredible, diverse population here in the state of snowbirds and major thoroughfares and ports really on both sides of the state. Translate that into what happens here in Florida. What's next?
Well, I would agree with Captain Williams. I think that that we really have to look at it and not only educate the law enforcement officers that just don't understand the magnitude of this sometimes, but we also educate the prosecutors. We educate the judges, and and I think that that's really occurring. And you were talking about earlier how we've been successful. I think that's a big part for us, is that we're getting out there and doing the education, and we're educating the people that need to know on that basis. And we've shared that with the retail community. We share the prosecutors, the retailers with the prosecutors. So it's really opening that door to where the private sector and public sector can work together.
That's great. And Detective Hopkins, I think shifting gears just slightly, I remember when you first joined the LAAORCA program and everyone was so excited that you were coming on board. A compliment to you. You came on board with such enthusiasm from a different part of the city, not in the commercial crimes division, saying, how do I help? How do I do more? How do I make an impact and bring the results that are so important? If you were talking now to someone that was trying to start a program or come in from, perhaps a patrol or some other part of an agency into a commercial crimes-like group, what transitional challenges did you face? How would you recommend somebody get started in that?
That's a very easy question for me to answer, considering, as you said, I was very unfamiliar, just like I'm sure a lot of officers are. But I had a lot of people, this man included, who have guided me and have shown me, because I was unaware, just like many officers are, of the huge substantial loss that the businesses are incurring. So I would simply say, don't reinvent the wheel, speak to the people who have done it before, and then build upon that. So it was something that I'm continuously learning, and it is very exciting to me.
That's fantastic. And I'll disagree with you just slightly. You came in with such an incredible wealth of knowledge from your experience in the department overall. You hit the ground running. I love the fact that, and I think I've worked, in full disclosure, I've worked with all three of you in very different capacities over the years. The success I see is that you come with this energy about working with the public-private sector. And Captain Williams, you brought up technology. You've all brought it up now in one level or another. There's a real need to share information. How do we know these groups are transient. They're working the 5, they're working the 95, they're transient from east to west. In LA, we have the ports.
Yes.
We have a major metro population. We're a border state. We have this incredibly challenging environment, and LA ranks #1, as you mentioned, of the ORC issue. I know you're looking outside of LA, looking at a much bigger initiative in California called LAAORCA. Can you share some details about that?
Yes. LAAORCA, I think, has been very successful in terms of the area that we've been able to serve. But a lot of our retail partners are involved with Southern California, Middle California, Northern California, Nevada, Utah, and so forth. And they want to have a means to have a greater ability to give it information. So we established, at their request, LAAORCA, and it's at its baby steps right now, and it's an ability to go statewide, and they can segregate what information they want, but they can input one-stop shopping, if you will, put the information in, and it goes statewide, and they can bring information from any part of the state which they wish to do. Because, as you said, the individuals who are involved in this, they don't just stay in LA. They go from inside the state and also out in other words.
That's fantastic. And I know we could cover so much more. We're going to need to wrap it up there. If you just listen to the diversity and how the two different agencies approach this, the LAAORCA program on the West Coast, the rapid response effort here in Polk County, Florida, but they're all really so similar. It's about passionate people, partnerships, leveraging technology. I would really like to thank all three of you for spending time. I'm sure you're sick and tired of getting pummeled with everybody. No, you know what? I know you're not, because you're such great partners. Captain Williams, you've been a mentor. Thank you so much for all of your work here at the NRF, at LAAORCA, in CCD. Detective Hopkins, what can I say? You're running the program. You're on the ground level. I love working with you back home. I'm from LA, and Sergeant Ostojic, You have been such a great partner over the years. I'm so excited to see where these programs go. You're always welcome in LA. We'd love to have you back there. Come on back. And I know you're going to I hope you're going to some of these other meetings I'm going to be at soon. Gentlemen, thanks again for being here. And we're going to turn it back over to Amber. And you know what? I think these guys might fire me. I'm going to go back to moderator. I don't know. Back to you.